This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome, everybody, to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today, we have a good neighbor on with us. Her name is Stephanie Maye from Maven Commercial Real Estate. How's it going?
Very well, Sean. How are you?
I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We got a full day of shows today, so I'm ready to rock and roll, and I couldn't be doing it with a better person at 8:30 this morning.
Perfect. Well, you know what they say about the earlier worm, right?
They get the bird.
Other way around.
Rock and roll. So look, I've had realtors on the show before, but you're going to be my first commercial realtor that I get the chance to interview. So why don't we dive right in it and tell our listeners a little bit about your business?
So I am co-founder and broker of record of Maven Commercial Real Estate. My husband and I started the company 5 years ago after being in the business for 20 years. And we specialize in the sale and leasing of commercial real estate assets in Simcoe County. And so that term commercial ranges from agricultural farmland for future land banking purposes, all the way to development properties, office towers, industrial facilities, retail plazas, and large apartment buildings. And it really comes down to what is going to make money for the future.
Very cool. Very obviously, there's differences between, residential and commercial. Maybe if somebody doesn't know that much of a difference, there's quite a number of differences, isn't there?
Well, the first and foremost is it's a ton of math. I mean, there's an objectivity that our clients have in whether they go for a deal or not go. And it comes down to what's the math going to say? What's the future political environment, and what are the trends? And so we're hyper data oriented. We have cataloged every single commercial property, industrial property in all of Simcoe County. So we know what exists, what square footage is where, who owns what. And so we just have great conversations with business owners and investors all day long. And it comes down to what can they achieve with their investment dollars.
It blows my mind because I'm not in your world every day. Actually, I'm rarely in your world. And to have to think about future political stuff, that's pretty crazy.
It actually affects every single business. Policies can change on a whim. I mean, we saw what happened to the restaurant industry because of, the last 5 years with COVID, right? So every industry has its exposure, and it can be a windfall if a rule is changed in somebody's favor, but it can also be a major detriment. And we just have to navigate all of those rules. And listen, like, we're on a local level, so we're advising our clients by having relationships with those that are already in positions of governing authority. And so it's more of where our position is more of liaising between who are the investors and who are the decision makers for allowing a particular use to happen. And we enjoy it. We actually uncover opportunities quite often. So, I'll get on the phone to say, hey guys, now's the time to be doing something, and here's why. And we help bring things to light. And really, you don't see the fruit of all of that labor until 5 years down the road. I've got clients that I've done deals with 10 years ago, and it's only showing up now. It's pretty fun. I get to tell my kids, hey, when we're driving by a site, hey guys, what's going to be this in the future? And they go, uh-huh, mom, okay, whatever. But down the road they say, hey, didn't you tell me that was going to happen long before? So it's kind of fun.
That's pretty cool. It reminds me a little bit about my dad, because my dad kind of did commercial real estate near the tail end, more so for site selection for his his business when he was still working for Cash Money. And I remember conversations where he had, a tough day at work, and we're having a beer on the back deck, and we're just kind of unwinding, and we're finalizing supper or whatever. And he's telling me stories where he's fighting within his own organization because he wants to put a store across from the other store, and he's like, it's going to double the revenue, and he had to fight tooth and nail. He finally got what he wanted, and it more than doubled the revenue. It's like he knew, like in your case there, where you have a sixth sense for it. You just know.
He understood traffic patterns because he knew that people don't want to turn left into the store. They'll go somewhere else, right? And so if the fact that it's right across the road, he knew people just behave differently based on traffic patterns. It's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. There's a lot of fine-tuned little things that actually make a big difference, it seems, in your world.
Oh, absolutely.
So some people out there were born to do certain things. They knew the moment that they came out of the womb that this is what's going to happen. And then there's others that get pulled left and right and have quite a windy road. And I'm always curious to ask this question about your journey, and how and why did you get to doing what you do today?
Well, okay. So it started when I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I liked the concept of investing in real estate, and we started into that road. My husband and I started investing, and then so I got into the real estate industry 20 years ago. Started in a smaller town. I wasn't in the Barrie area at the time. We were out in Fergus, which is population 6,000 people.
Yeah.
And so we sold mostly farms and residential properties and the odd little industrial building. But my favorite clients were investors and business owners. And at that time, so this was about 12 years ago, my husband, his health wasn't good. He landed in intensive care. And I was just so busy doing residential real estate. And I just felt like I was running ragged. I wasn't even paying attention to my own family and their needs. And so I had a real moment where I realized this isn't healthy for us to keep going this way. And so I ended up, after a lot of deep soul searching and prayer, landed to the conclusion that I needed something that was aligned with what I've always loved, which was working with investors. And most of those guys and business owners, they want to work during the business hours, right? Like something along the lines of 9 to 5. Nobody wants a phone call at 9 o'clock at night talking about an offer. They're happy doing their own thing with their families. So that's when I jumped over to the commercial side. And my husband and I, we started the company 5 years ago because we realized that on the commercial side of real estate in Simcoe County, there really weren't a lot of choices for our clients to get different kinds of service. And we really believe in relationship first. So it just helped us to have better autonomy over how to deliver those services so that our clients, the relationships matter, because our business owners, they're always thinking of an idea. And I don't want to just do one transaction and that's it. I actually want to see our clients bring all their ideas to fruition, or at least help them pick which ones are going to go farther than the others. So that's how we landed onto the commercial side, and how we ended up opening our own company.
Was Blair always doing real estate too?
So he and I invested together. We fixed up properties as well. He did most of that. I just said which ones were good. But no, he came from a different industry.
Okay.
So now that we have this together, he's full force on the real estate side as well.
So I'm going off the board with this question, because I think some people are going to be curious, because there are people that will listen to the show that work with their significant other, and some do it really well. I know you guys do because I know you, but others, they struggle with that sort of thing because there's not really a whole lot of separation. You're kind of together, you're doing your thing and during the working hours, and then you're together at home, especially if you have kids and the whole bit. So how do you find that whole process, and how do you guys work that out together to make it such a wonderful partnership?
Listen, it is a passionate discussion almost every day. So what is priority and what can be set aside. But I think what it comes down to for us is we recognize each other's strengths. And so I know my husband's got amazing foresight. He really does see further down the road than I do. Um, and so when he's calling me out about something going a certain direction, I do know that he's got a sense for these things. So, then I can slow down and listen and see, okay, how else can we handle this then? And he knows that I know the technicalities very intricately. So if I say something is not going to work or this could work and here's why, he says, okay, well let's go. He's sort of the encourager to say, okay, if you see it, then let's do it.
Very cool.
So for others that are talking about going into business together, as long as you can give each other space to each do something independently, so each has responsibility for their own role, then you can coexist quite well.
Very nice. Are there any myths or misconceptions in the commercial real estate world?
Well, I'll say this, realtors are not all equal. Just when people go to school to get their real estate license, they come out with the same license. Doesn't matter if they're selling residential homes, cottages, industrial facilities, it's all the same license. But the reality is we ran the numbers in Simcoe County. Only 2% of all the realtors here actually sell commercial properties full
Wow.
time. So just because a residential or a realtor selling one's home says, yeah, I can help you, we always encourage our clients to find the person who's going to be best suited for their particular need at that moment. We refer residential needs for our clients to residential agents because commercial is a whole other animal. As we sort of alluded to earlier, there are many factors that can affect a business decision. And so we're highly tuned into those. So we would want to make sure that our clients get that exposure. The other thing is in the middle of COVID, or I would say at the very beginning, when nobody knew what to do and we were all shut in for those first 2 weeks, I set out doing a lot of number crunching and we went back to see how many properties actually transacted on MLS. And I figured it was around 50%. But what I found out was that industrial properties in particular, only 6% sold through the MLS system. So when
Wow.
you go onto realtor.ca, that's the MLS system that I'm talking about.
Right.
The rest of them, 94%, took place direct. And I don't mean not through realtors because we sell lots of properties off market is what they call that.
Okay.
And so we've kept this investigation up every year and it went slightly the opposite direction. So in the depths of COVID, when the pricing market was really high in 2021, the off market numbers dropped to 86%. And now we're back into a more normal type of pricing. And right now for 2023, the number of properties sold off market were 95.7%. So,
Wow.
it really helps to know the inventory and you can go direct to clients or have a realtor that can help get you in the door because you're
Right.
not going to see what you're looking for just through realtor.ca.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask why, but you ended up answering the question. And just to add to that, commercial versus residential, if the residential agent doesn't have the experience like a full-time commercial only that's been doing it for a while, a business such as yourself, you're really toying and playing with a business owner's future in your hands.
Well, I mean, just the paperwork alone in doing an offer, a residential offer is usually around 7 pages, and a commercial offer can range between 15 and 35.
Wow.
So there are a lot of clauses that can fit on a page, let me tell you.
Okay, so you are very busy. Blair's very busy. And you guys have a phenomenal business. But when you guys are not working and having that work-life balance, what do you like to do for fun?
We are outdoorsy people. So we live in the Ardagh Bluffs area in the south end of Barrie, and we chose that area because of backing onto the forest. We just use that forest every single day. We're hiking it. Our dogs love it. We have two Wheaton Terrier mixed with poodles. We call them Weedy Poos or Woodles. And then our kids, they're active as well. Our son's an avid skier. We're all skiers actually, and sorry, my son and I are skiers, and Blair and my daughter are snowboarders. But
Snowboarders, yeah.
we live up here because we love the fun of the outdoors.
Yeah, it's a great place to be up here. I lost my snowboarding boots and my helmet for the past going on 4 years. Just recently found. I thought my mother sold them when I left it back at, I bought my house in 2019 and my parents hadn't moved from Oro to Midhurst yet. They followed suit 4 months later. So I moved and then they did a bunch of packing, a couple months later. And I thought, because my mom went on a fire sale, they really downsized a lot, like 100% downsize, and went to less than half of what they had. So fire sale, this and that. I thought she sold them and we just miraculously found them. I went looking for them. I couldn't find them at all. And it wasn't like I was going to go find new boots. Like they're fairly new for the amount I snowboard. Like I'm only going, 2-3 times a year type of thing. And this was pre-COVID. So then of course, nothing since COVID. And I'm like, well, there's my board. I don't know. Should I sell it? What should I do? But next time there's a snow on the ground, that's actually going to be real snow. We'll have to all hit the slopes together. That'll be a lot of fun.
It'll snow tonight. Watch it happen. So there you go. You can go searching tomorrow.
No way, man. I'm not getting out there. I'm in spring mode now. I'm like, just bring it on, bring it on. Let me get the gardening started. I want to start working on the backyard. I'm dumping it behind me. Hockey season's almost done. Next week's live.
Maple syrup production is going so well right now. So you can go visit your local maple syrup producer.
Now, see there. That's what I'm talking about. I'll be down for something like that. All right. In life, some things are sometimes out of our control, where something unexpected, something that's not within our control can yank us in a direction. We always try to aim to be going in a particular direction with our life and our goals. And sometimes we face challenges and obstacles and hardships in our life. And I'm curious to ask you if you've ever been through a hardship or a life challenge where you were able to overcome that challenge. Maybe it made you better. Maybe it made you stronger for it.
Well, I sort of alluded to it earlier when I said my husband was really sick. But once we made that decision, okay, if we switch out of residential real estate and go to the commercial side, how are we going to do this? So we moved towns. So I had to start with fresh clientele and I was switching industries. I mean, effectively, it's very different. So I was a very high producing seller or agent in Fergus. And once we moved to Barrie, for 3 years in a row, I was making 10% of what I was.
Wow.
And that was, but I wouldn't relent. I wouldn't stop. It was very tempting to go and sell a house just because I could, because I had, clients or relationships, people, friends around me that said, "Hey, can you help me find a house?" And I knew I could do it. I knew I would do well if I did it, but I didn't want to stop that, like that commitment to the commercial side. So In any case, after those 3 years of sticking to it, I ended up finding some great courses, commercial courses. But you really decide what's important to you when you're going through pain and you don't move out of it. When you stick to it, there's a saying, discipline hurts for a little while, and then it yields a peaceable fruit of righteousness or results for those who stay in it. And that's really what happened for me
Yeah.
and for us, because Blair was along for that ride. That wasn't me by myself.
Yeah. Discipline, also doing something that you don't want to do, that over time will yield you the success that you want to have.
I mean, there's a really short way of saying it when you're trying to decide what to do in the moment. Is what I'm doing, or is what this is, something that I want just now, or is this what I want most?
Very nice.
And when you can weigh those moments out, you decide, okay, what I want most is going to hurt a little bit longer, but it'll help it.
Yeah. And hard work pays off. I know your work ethic, and because I've had your husband tell me multiple times, I'm pretty sure he used the word machine to me. He's like, she's a machine. She's relentless. She's grinding it out. She won't stop. Her work ethic's phenomenal. So I'm not surprised at where you guys have taken the heights in the business, and very eager and excited to watch you guys continue to grow.
We wouldn't be able to do it without a team, though. I mean, we have an amazing team, and they have helped me grow as well. I've been used to being a solo person for a long time,
Mhm.
and so they've helped me to realize we're better together.
100%. Very well said. Is there, what's one thing that you wish our listeners knew about your business?
I think that it would be good for anybody who's considering doing anything with commercial real estate, whether it's for lease or for purchase, that they have a full team advising them. So not just a commercial realtor, but also an accountant, a lawyer, and even a planner, an urban planner, to help uh, guide your decisions, because there are a lot of moving parts, and it's important to find people who can work as a team with each other, because everybody has their own lens.
Okay, very good advice. And if there's anybody who's listening right now that would like to get a hold of you guys, what's the best way that they can go ahead and do so?
Best place to go first is our website, mavencommercial.ca. And we have lots of videos, content, blogs, stories, success stories on there. So if you're kind of curious, you can do some research. But of course, you can get a hold of us on the phone. I'm the best with phone. 705-728-9000 is the office number.
Nice and easy to remember. Awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Awesome person, awesome family, great business, and super happy to have you guys on here, and looking forward to hopefully doing this again.
Sean, I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
No worries, anytime.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com, or call 705-413-3775.